Hello students. So in the previous video, we studied the chemical properties of metals by looking at some activities. So moving on, let's have a look upon the chemical reactions or the chemical equations involved in these types of reactions. How actually the metals react with different elements. Let's study the chemical equations of these types of reactions. So first comes the reaction of metals with oxygen. So metals usually react with oxygen to form basic metallic oxides. And when these oxides are tested with the litmus paper, they generally turn the red litmus to blue, showing that they are basic in nature. The metals like sodium and potassium, they are very reactive, highly reactive. They react with oxygen readily to form their oxides, so they are stored in kerosene. Then comes the magnesium, iron and aluminium. They react slowly with oxygen. We all know that these types of metals they are having luster. But when exposed to air for a long time, they simply lose their luster and they get tarnished as they form an oxide layer over them as a result of their reaction with the oxygen that is present in air. Then we also discussed about the magnesium. The magnesium ribbon that burns with a dazzling flame to form a white ash in the air. And the white ash formed is the magnesium oxide. And when the white ash that is formed, that is mixed with water and that solution is tested with the litmus paper, it turned the red litmus paper to blue. So what it indicates? This indicates that magnesium oxide that is formed by burning of the magnesium ribbon in air, that is basic in nature. So we can conclude that the metals react with oxygen forming basic metallic oxides. Clear? Then we are having some metals like iron, aluminium, zinc and copper. They rust by their prolonged exposure to the moist air, and this is called corrosion. It is the chemical reaction between a material that is usually a metal with its environment, and it produces deterioration of the material and its properties. And usually, whenever the corrosion happens, the metal gets corroded or carried away along with the product that is formed after the reaction between the material with its environment. And corrosion of the iron metal is commonly called rusting. The metal, like copper, on exposing to the moist air for a long time, it acquires a greenish coating due to the formation of copper hydroxide. Therefore, the copper vessels become green when they remain out of use for long. In the process of rusting as well, the iron rust is formed when the iron reacts with the oxygen that is present in the moist air. Then comes the second one, the reaction of metals with water. So metals usually react with water to form metal oxides or the metal hydroxides with the production of hydrogen gas. Now different metals react differently with metals according to the reactivity series that we will discuss later on. First comes the sodium and potassium. These are highly reactive metals. They are very explosive. As soon as they come in contact with water, they explode. And that is why they are even stored in kerosene, as they even react with the oxygen and the water that is present in the atmosphere. No worry what is the temperature of water. It is hot or cold. They will simply react with it. And the moment these are put in water, they explode. So they are highly reactive. The sodium and potassium, they react with water to form sodium hydroxide and the potassium hydroxide respectively with the production of hydrogen gas, and the hydrogen gas that is produced in this case is highly explosive. Then comes the calcium, which can again react with the cold water, but it is not that explosive like the sodium and potassium. It forms the bubbles in water due to the formation of calcium hydroxide and the production of hydrogen gas that forms bubbles in the water. And then comes the magnesium. It doesn't react with the cold water, but it reacts with the boiling water, but this time to form magnesium oxide. In the case of sodium, potassium and calcium, the metal hydroxides were forming. But coming to the magnesium, it reacts with the boiling water to form magnesium oxide with the production of hydrogen gas. And then comes the metals like zinc, aluminium and ferrous or the iron. They doesn't react with the cold water as well as the boiling water. Actually, they doesn't react with water. No doubt the reaction occurs, but the reaction occurs when the water is in the form of steam. That means the water should be present in gaseous state. So they react with water to form the metal oxides with the production of hydrogen gas. Like we are having the example in front of us, the iron that reacts with steam to form its oxide with the production of hydrogen. And then comes the other metals like silver, gold and platinum. They doesn't react with the steam also. Among these, the gold and platinum, these are such two metals which do not show any chemical reaction. They doesn't react with anything. They are non-reactive and are called noble metals. Like we are having the noble gases, the gases which doesn't react, they are called noble gases. Likewise, we are having the metals which do not react. They are non-reactive and are called noble metals. The examples of noble metals are the gold and the platinum. Then comes the third one, which is the reaction of metals with acids. So the metals, they react with acid to form salt and the production of hydrogen gas with the evolution of heat. These are some chemical equations showing how the metals react with acids. Here in this case we are having two acids, the hydrochloric acid or the HCl and the sulfuric acid or the H2SO4. So magnesium that react with HCl to form magnesium chloride, the aluminium that react with HCl to produce aluminium chloride, the zinc that reacts with sulfuric acid or the H2SO4 to form zinc sulfate, sodium and iron that react with HCl to form sodium chloride and iron chloride respectively, all with the production of hydrogen gas. And the metals like copper, silver, gold, platinum, they do not release hydrogen from the dilute acids. So they doesn't react with the dilute acids. And among this category, we are having an exception as well. All the acids, they react with the metals to form salt with the production of hydrogen gas. But among this, we are having one such acid which doesn't go well with it. This is nitric acid or the HNO3. That is such an acid which on reacting with metals doesn't produce hydrogen gas. No doubt salts are formed. Whenever the metal reacts with the nitric acid, salts are formed but no production of hydrogen gas. As HNO3 is a very strong oxidizing agent, it simply oxidizes the hydrogen to form water, and that is why the hydrogen gas is not liberated. The HNO3 that simply oxidizes H2 to H2O and itself it reduces to the oxides of nitrogen, that is NO or NO2. For example, if copper reacts with HNO3, in the product it will form copper nitrate and the H2 that will oxidize to H2O and the HNO3 that will reduce to NO. So the reaction will be Cu plus HNO3 gives CuNO3 whole twice plus water plus NO. So this is one exception. And there is one more exception within this exception. We are saying that HNO3 on reacting with the metal, it doesn't produce hydrogen gas. But with this same acid, we are having two metals, only two metals, which on reacting with this acid also produces hydrogen gas. These are the manganese and the magnesium. These are two such metals which on reacting with any acid, even the HNO3, it forms salt and releases the hydrogen gas as well. Then comes the fourth one, that is the reaction of metals with bases. Most of the metals do not react with bases, but the aluminium, lead and zinc that react with strong bases like sodium hydroxide or the potassium hydroxide to form some complex compounds with the evolution of hydrogen gas again. So one such example is this that we have studied in the previous video as well. The aluminium that reacts with sodium hydroxide to form sodium aluminate with the production of hydrogen gas. And then comes the last one, that is reaction of metals with the metal salts. These are the displacement reactions. So before that, let's just discuss about the reactivity series of metals. So the metals, they react at different rates with air and water, and based upon their reactivities, metals are arranged in a series that is given in front of you. The most reactive metal is placed on the top of the series and the least reactive metal that is placed at the bottom of the series. And this series is called the reactivity series of metals. We discussed about the reactivity series in the case of reaction of metals with waters. There we were studying that potassium and sodium, these are highly reactive and they react readily with water and air, and they are simply explosive. So they are very reactive. They are the most reactive metals. So these are placed at the top. Then comes the calcium that was reacting with the cold water, but that was not that explosive. Then comes the magnesium that reacts with the boiling water. Then comes the third category, that is aluminium, zinc and ferrous or iron, that was reacting with the steam, not with the water. That was reacting with the water in the gaseous state. So these were placed in the middle. These are moderately reactive. And moving down in the same fashion, we reach to the silver, gold and the platinum. These are very less reactive. And the gold and platinum, these are not reactive at all. They doesn't react with anything. These are non-reactive, and that is why these are called noble metals. Understood? So coming to the displacement reaction, a displacement reaction is a reaction in which a more reactive metal can displace a less reactive metal from its salt solution. So in the displacement reaction, the metals are reacted with the metal salts, and if the metal is more reactive than the metal that is present in the salt, it will simply replace the metal that is present in the salt. Like for example, we are having iron reacting with copper sulfate to form iron sulfate plus copper. Here in this case, the iron is more reactive than the copper. You are seeing the iron is present much above than the copper. So in this case, the iron is more reactive than the copper. So it will say to copper that hey, I am more reactive than you. I am stronger than you. This is my place. I will sit with sulfate. You can find your own way. You can go somewhere else. So that is a part of humor. Coming to the displacement reactions, since iron is more reactive than the copper, it will simply take its place and displace it. So iron, when reacting with the copper sulfate, it will form iron sulfate and copper. Likewise, coming to the next example, magnesium and copper sulfate. Since magnesium is much reactive than the copper, it will simply displace it. Magnesium, on reacting with copper sulfate, it will form magnesium sulfate and copper. Magnesium will displace the place of copper and sit in its place. Likewise, in the case of zinc, when reacting with copper sulfate, since zinc is more reactive than the copper, it will again displace. The zinc will form the zinc sulfate and copper will be displaced. But a less reactive metal, on the other hand, that cannot displace the more reactive element from its salt solution. Like we are having the three examples which are given at the bottom. Iron when reacting with zinc sulfate. Where is iron? Iron is placed just below the zinc. So iron is less reactive than the zinc. So it is not having that power that it can displace the zinc from its salt solution. So when iron reacts with zinc sulfate, no reaction will take place. Similarly, in the case of copper reacting with magnesium sulfate, since copper is less reactive than the magnesium, copper is much less reactive than the magnesium. So it cannot displace the magnesium from its salt solution. It is not having that much power that it can move the magnesium from the magnesium sulfate. So no reaction will take place in this case as well. And the last one, that is zinc reacting with the calcium sulfate. Zinc is much more less reactive than the calcium. So zinc, that can also not replace the calcium from its salt solution. So no reaction will take place whenever the less reactive metal is reacting with the salt solution of a more reactive metal. But whenever the more reactive metal will react with the salt solution of the less reactive metal, it will simply displace its position and take its position. It will simply displace that metal from the salt solution and take its place. Understood? So these were some displacement reactions, and with this the chemical properties of metals is over. In the next section we will be discussing the chemical properties of non-metals. That is a very short portion. After that we'll discuss some uses of metals and non-metals and your chapter will be over. So till the next session, take care, stay safe and goodbye.